Chapter 21. Oswald was sitting at his private table as he waited for his guest. He looked up and smiled when he heard the man speak. "Hey Oz. Hello Johnny. He presented his hand to sit. Johnny slid into the booth with a blank face. "I thought you would stay away with Pax giving you a new identity. Johnny tapped his fingertip on the table as he looked down in a daze. I had to see it for myself. Is he really gone? Oswald pursed his lips from side to side in the same direction as he tilted his head. "Well, not entirely. Go by there around midnight and you'll see. He never misses a show. Johnny's face was sad. "I heard it was pretty sweet how she did it. Oswald chuckled. "It was fucking awesome. You would have been proud. Johnny wiped his eyes as he pressed them with his thumb and pointer finger. "I already was. Oswald raised his glass. "To Pax. Johnny tapped it to his. "To Ball Buster. It was midnight. Joker sat in his private showroom slouching in his chair. He fluttered his fingers against the arm as he watched a figure dance on the stage. "Are you gonna stay up there all night? Or ya gonna come down and see me? An image of Pax slid off of the dancer pole and eased off stage. Joker growled as he stretched his neck. "Why do you come every night to torment me? Oh Jay baby, do you want me to go? Pax stood right in front of his legs. "It speaks. He whispered loudly. Pax bit her lip as she turned around and leaned back on him as she rubbed her bottom on his lap. "So, you're not happy to see me? Joker was nuzzling her ear with his lips. "Oh no honey, I'm just trying to figure out if you're just another voice in my head. Pax giggled as she turned around and straddled him. He started to raise his hands to touch her. "No Jay, no touching. And no, I'm not in your head. I'm right here." Pax laid her hand over his heart. "Well that's good and all, but I know somewhere else you could be, that would feel a lot better." He bit his bottom lip as she curved her chest closer to his face. "Oh, I wish I could, but that's impossible. Pax drove him crazy as she pushed her cleavage together. "Jay? Who ya talking to? Joker didn't look away from Pax as she sat on his lap. "It's Pax Frost. Don't ya see her? Frost shook his head. "You are out of your fucking mind. Pax leaned down and whispered in Joker's ear. Johnny turned to leave until he heard Joker. "She said to tell you thank you. She's sorry she had to leave. Johnny scoffed as he turned around. "That's very typical. Pax leaned into Joker's ear again. "Fruit Loops." Johnny's expression eased. "What?" Joker continued to look at the invisible girl. "The night you went to kill her, when you brought her home, you got irritated that she ate all of them, but gladly gave them up since they hadn't fed her. Johnny had tears in his eyes. "Goodbye Pax. Joker heard him leave but kept his eyes on her. His eyes widened as she eased off his lap. "This is where I leave. See you tomorrow then. Joker tried to touch her but she was too quick. "I'm afraid not Jay. Pax looked down as she turned to walk away. "Wait. Joker's chest heaved. "Yes Jay. He walked up to her. "Please, one kiss. Pax caught him off guard as she grabbed a handful of hair and pressed his lips to hers. He could smell the scent of her hair, tasted her lips and felt her flesh as he embraced her. He heard her sigh out a breath. His eyes slowly opened as he felt her ease away. She was gone. He grabbed through thin air but nothing was there. He stood in the silence alone thinking of her. Bruce walked into his office after Pax's funeral. There was a box flashing on his computer screen. He sat down and clicked on it. He smirked when the video of Pax came on. "Hello Bruce. I told you that you would see me again, but these circumstances means I'm gone. I can't thank you enough for using my program. Clean slate for Frost. He is a good man, that had done some bad things. I was going to request that you destroy it, but others need your help. Please find them and use it to free them. You're a good man, and I sincerely trust your judgment. This is where we say goodbye." The screen closed. Bruce leaned back in his chair and smirked as he thought about their time together. Oswald stepped out of the limo and waited for Johnny to do the same. "Johnny. Oswald offered him his hand and smiled as Johnny shook it. "If you ever want to get back in. Johnny held up his hand. "Nah, she set me up pretty good. I'm comfortable right now, but thanks. Oswald patted his shoulder. "Take care. Frost nodded and headed to his private jet. Samson was asleep on the leather sofa with his tongue hanging out. Johnny rubbed the dog's head, but he didn't stir. He took a seat by the window and admired Gotham for the last time. Bruce anxiously tapped his fingers on the white tablecloth as he waited for Pax. His attention was drawn to the hostess as he talked to the young bombshell that walked in the door. Bruce shifted so he would be sitting straight. The young woman smiled and offered her hand. Bruce. He stood and shook her hand. I'm Penelope. Thank you for seeing me. Bruce did a boyish smirk. I wish the pleasure was for different reasons. Maybe they can be later. Pax's eyes grew wide as she couldn't believe she said it. She cursed herself. Stupid hormones. Bruce pulled her chair out and sat across from her. So this friend of yours, who is he? Pax gulped. Johnny Frost. Bruce smiled. You gotta be kidding me. Smile. Johnny Frost? Joker's right-hand man? The answer is no. Pax's face showed pain. She pushed her eyes closed as she looked down. Bruce regretted his quick response, but before he could apologize, Pax spoke again. I'm sorry for taking up your time, Mr. Wayne. Goodbye. Pax eased out of her chair but was stopped as Bruce grabbed her wrist. I'm sorry. Please sit down. Pax sat back down with an uncertain face. Perhaps I spoke in haste. What is Frost to you? Her facial expression eased. He's my family. He saved me from a terrible life of servitude, but he told Jay about me. I've been his prisoner for about 3 months now. Bruce could tell she was telling the truth. I did my research. You've been missing since the age of 15 while in foster care. Your mother and father are deceased due to an auto accident. Pax nodded as she sipped her water. Yep, that about sums it up. Who took you? Brian Derlin. Have you heard of him? Bruce's face turned cold. Unfortunately, he's a wonderful blackmailer. Who do you think found all that material? Pax cut her eyes to him as she took another sip of water. Bruce gave a handsome smirk. No wonder he's still after you. I would be too. Pax put down her glass as she thought to herself. Ah, fuck it. She gave a 5-second pause of silence. I'm going to be blunt. Bruce lifted his eyebrows with curiosity. What's that? Pax leaned down closer to the table and wiggled her finger for him to do the same. Bruce showed his perfect teeth as he did. She whispered, ever been with a 20-year-old? Bruce's perfect teeth disappeared, but he kept the smirk as he quietly shook his head. Pax smiled a seductive smile. Want to? Bruce and Pax's face were smushed together as he tried to open the door and kiss her. As the hotel door opened, he scooped her up and plopped her on the bed. As he climbed on top of her, Pax ripped open his button-down shirt. Bruce aggressively jerked down her dress. She pushed him onto his back and quickly unbuttoned his pants as he leans up and kisses her lips. She forcefully jerks his pants down to find what she's looking for. Bruce leans his head back and grabbed a handful of her hair as she took him in her mouth. Pax wanted to continue the favor but her own selfish needs overtook her. She pushed Bruce down and straddled him. He slightly flexed his abdomen as she eased him into her. They both smiled at one another as they enjoyed each other's company. Pax closed her eyes as she was getting close. She could have cared less if he wanted it to last longer. Bruce tried to control her hips, but Pax growled as she pinned down his hands and thrust her hips. He tilted his head up as he could feel her milking him for every drop. He felt her spasm all around him. This set off his release as he grunted. Bruce sat in bed as he watched her pull her dress back up. So, you don't want to stick around? I mean, you can sleep here if you want. Pax smirked as she walked over and sat on his side of the bed and stroked his face. That's sweet, but I do have to be going. Bruce pulled her hand from his face and kissed her knuckles. Isn't that my line? Pax chuckled. Not today. She went to ease off the bed but he tugged her hand. I want to see you again. Pax tucked her hair behind her ear. You will, but unfortunately it will be because of different circumstances. There was a comfortable silence until it was broken. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Bruce watched as she pulled out a small black case from her purse. Please give it to Frost when he wakes up. Bruce gave her a puzzled look as she leaned in and passionately kissed him. After that she left. Meet the author. Hello readers. I hope you enjoyed my story. Please check out my other books. Thank you so much for reading. Sincerely, Wilkie.